Hello, friends. Recently, there was a movie known as Dune 2, and that movie is based on critically acclaimed novel. And before Dune 2, there was another movie known as Black Panther. Now, what is a common thread between these kinds of movies? The common thread here is that all these movies are actually telling about how black people or how black society would have been different, how they would have been empowered, etc., but not today, in some futuristic society. And you must have observed that in these movies, they are using a lot of technology which is very African driven, very black driven, and the technology suits the most in order to empower these people in some futuristic oriented society. Now, why I'm picking these two movies and examples? Because recently a term has become very popular known as Afrofuturism. Okay. Now, what does Afrofuturism tries to do? Afrofuturism tries to speculate that had there been no slavery, had there been no exploitation of the whole continent of Africa and the black people, then how would they have evolved into some powerful community? Because we all know that Africa is the mother continent. It is there where humanity started its life. But what happened suddenly that today Africa is one of the most uh, poor continent. It has the all the indicators of failed. Most of the states are failed states, etc. So why this happened actually? So Afrofuturism as a concept tries to understand this. It looks at the past of exploitation, slavery, etc. And based on that, it creates a futuristic society in which the black people are empowered enough, but they are doing so with the unique use of technology and all the antecedent things related to technology. This is known as Afrofuturism. In short, Afrofuturism actually expresses the notion of black identity, agency, freedom with the help of art, creative works, activism, and how technology can change the future. So, what Afrofuturism is doing? Afrofuturism is basically intersecting two concepts. One is speculation, and other is liberation. So, Afrofuturism is trying to speculate that what if there was no slavery? What if the whole continent was not forced to undergo such a pathetic treatment for almost 100 to 150 years of their lives? And what if we use technology which is very specific for the empowerment of black people and create a futuristic society based on the notion of liberation that will actually help to understand what is the actual worldview of black people, what is their original agency, how they want to carve a world full of freedom, full of hope. So this is the concept called as Afrofuturism. Although it has become in vogue, it has become very prominent recently because of the coming of movies like Black Panther, where a futuristic society, Wakanda Forever, was shown, and Dune 2, Dune 1, where they have shown a society where although people are slaves, but they have their own unique way of living lives, and their most important resource, a salt, is used around all the different planets of the universe. So, Afrofuturism is the term to understand. Afrofuturism is a term for future. And the term Afrofuturism was introduced by cultural critic Mark Derry. Cultural critic Mark Derry, in his 1994 essay in his 1994 essay, which was titled as Black to the Future. Black to the Future. Now, you may see from the title itself of this essay, Black, which has certain hint that they have not left their past. They are understanding, they are analyzing what actually happened in the past and how can they use the past to create a society in future where blacks can have their own agency and their own identity. Okay, so Afrofuturism word was used for the very first time in this particular essay by Mark Derry. And today, not only in Hollywood, but around the world, black people are able to portray what they mean by their worldview, what they mean by their own culture, etc. And world is trying to understand and accept these cultures with an open arm. You know, this term Afrofuturism, although came in 1994, but it is still seeing an evolution, and it has inspired a lot many other people. For example, in 1998 book, British Ghanaian writer Kodwo Ishun, where he wrote a book, More Brilliant Than the Sun, Adventures in Sonic Future. More Brilliant Than the Sun, Adventures in Sonic Future, where he is trying to trace the kind of music that we listen to, for example, jazz, dub, techno, funk, hip hop, etc. He traces the anti-slavery history of all these kinds of music. So today, these music are very hegemonic amongst the youth. It is used, it is listened to by people of all the age groups, and the channels like Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, etc. has made these kinds of music easily accessible to everybody around the world. But the author, Kodwo Eshun, actually traces the history of all these forms of music to anti-slavery struggles. It's jazz, blues, dub, techno, funk, hip hop, etc. So you see how the creativity, the art is being used to create an Afrofuturism. So Afrofuturism is a very new term which has become more popular recently, but came in 1990s, and it was given by Mark Derry. So this was all from today's concept series. This is Rohit Bansal from Shubhra Ranjan IAS, and with this series, what we are trying to do is to bring amongst you certain concepts, certain terms which are important in the literature circle, in the academia, and you might come across it every now and then, be it the Hindu magazine, which constantly comes up with the literary section, and other sections in other newspapers where we try to introduce the audience to the new terms. So today we did the term Afrofuturism and how Afrofuturism tries to empower the black community by giving them a black identity and a black agency. And there is a fun fact. This is the month of May, and it was in May 1963 that for the very first time Organization of African Unity came into existence. So with this, I say bye-bye. Have a good day.